I've done this with clients before. We'll be talking about their database and they're like, well, should I put my vendors in there? Like on my regular auto flow with everybody else? I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you? It's like, well, they probably already have, a realtor. They probably know some of this stuff. It's like, well, first of all, let's have some confidence in your business structure. Let's have some confidence in what you're putting into your marketing channels and everything. Welcome back, everyone, to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. We appreciate you being here with us. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe and the like button and that little bell to get notified. And if you're listening on audio, go check us out on YouTube. It helps us reach more people just like you so that we can spread this message and elevate each other up in this beautiful industry. We appreciate you. As always, I'm Matt and he's Garrett, and we got a fun topic today, Garrett, we get to dive on in on.
Yeah, we do. And this is all about opportunity left on the table, or however we want to look at it. But man, it's amazing how much our mindset leaves opportunity on the table, man. And so I'm excited to go down this route. And hopefully there's some ahas for all of you out there, because you've all done it. When you've come across a great person that you're like, God, I would love to work with them, but they probably have a realtor. They probably have somebody that helps them with that. They've got that taken care of. So I'm not going to bother them with that. I'm always like, wait, hold on. Do you know how many people do that to them?
Yeah. I want everybody to raise your hand right now if you've ever said, oh, I love Bob, but I'm not going to send him my marketing. I'm not going to put him because he knows tons of realtors. I actually already know that he has somebody because I know that he's done a deal with somebody else. So like he's already got somebody, so it's not worth it. Raise your hand. And there's probably a lot of you, and that's okay. And our mission here today is to change your mindset around that, because it is a weird way that you're blocking yourself, not only from the potential business from that, but from other people who could be pouring into you because you just have this non-conscious thing that you're just saying, well, they already have a realtor, so it's not even worth my time to market to that person. Garrett, I don't see big companies, like big brands, like let's say Nike. And I know this, people are like, well, I'm not Nike. I get it. But I don't see Nike walking around going, man, look at all these people wearing Reeboks. Cancel the TV ads. They're already wearing Reeboks. It's no point. They already got a sneaker.
They already have shoes.
They don't look at it that way. And we got to change our mindset in this industry too.
Well, so I think we should go back to an episode that we did. You said it was episode 30 something?
35.
35. So episode 35, as we were just kind of getting rolling here, we did one on the whole myth that everybody knew 10 real estate agents. And we polled a lot of our people that we know, our friends, and went like, really? Is that true? And we found that was complete crap, just so we're all on the same page. And it really came down to a very small number of people that actually knew. They had that. They're like, that's my realtor or realtors that I know. It's a very small group. We think we came down to about 3 or 4 people. And then it got even smaller when they were like, this is who I would work with. This is actually who I would trust. And some of them were like, I wouldn't actually work with any of them. I'd call my friend because I trust that they would know the right realtor to work with. So I want everybody to go, okay, if you listen to that episode, let's first off understand that aspect of this. The second aspect of what we're talking about today is how many times do you get in your own way when you find somebody who's really influential, really connected. They're just that, you all know who we're talking about in town, that they might be a business owner and they've got all these moving parts and all these people. And we just in our mind go, they probably have a professional. They probably have someone that would handle that for them. I'm not going to bother them with this. Or we just pull back and go like, I don't just think this is a good use of my time or my energy. And what I have watched, Matt, is that some of these most influential people, they're kind of on this like island.
Yeah, like nobody wants to come and talk to me because they think that like I'm up here when I'm just a regular person, just like everybody else out there.
100%. I think in that place right there, there's so much opportunity missed. And by the way, every time I've seen it happen where you actually go engage and you start sharing value, your expertise, you give them information and guidance, not trying to like capture the business, but just saying, hey, you know what? Let's assume they don't have a professional. Let's assume they don't have somebody they trust. You now bring the value of your business to them, and there's a very good shot that they're going to go, I didn't realize that they brought this table. I just like that they're even paying attention in my world right now.
People appreciate value, and that doesn't matter who they are. And we can even scale this down to your lenders and your home inspectors and the people you work with in the business, who we always say, oh, they probably know tons of realtors because they're a lender or because they're the videographer or photographer. It's like, yes, they may know a lot of realtors because they do business with them, but do they have their own realtor who's sharing good value with them? And they might have a lot of people who are, but the minute you say and you affirm that they already have somebody, so it's not worth my time, you're devaluing yourself too. And that's really the shame here, is because even if it's an influential person, you're saying, I cannot bring enough value to help this person because they're already so influential, so awesome that there's nothing that I could possibly give. But there is. And if we have that confidence, you're going to be able to bring it and form some good relationships, Garrett. I mean, we've seen people build incredible businesses because they took a chance on just sharing value with someone who all of a sudden becomes this incredible referral source, even if they don't use them personally as their realtor either.
Well, and there is this other side of this that I just as I'm kind of like putting this together, because I'm thinking of an actual coaching situation here that really happened, where the other side that a lot of influential people come across and they deal with is that they actually have people that latch onto them, and they're like, but they can tell it's fake. Like the person who is in this position of wealth and or influence, they're like, oh crap. It's like, oh God, I can't get this person off of me. They're always all over me. And I think that there's this nuance here that you do need to be careful with. That one, you never want to assume they have a person, because I think a lot of times they've pushed away also a lot of people that have glommed onto them, going like, I'm going to get their business. I'm going to make that my client. Yeah. I have them as my client. It's going to change my entire world and change my, what I'm building here. And I think there's that piece of it that you do need to realize, that the law of authenticity is huge. The law of you showing up and not in chasing scarcity, I'm going to get business mode, but really I'm going to bring a lot of value into this person's world. People move towards value all day long. So there's two sides of this. One is again, moving towards value on this side. But Matt, you brought up a great piece, which I think is really important, which is all these service people that are around us. All these ones that are kind of in our business, in the lending side, in the inspection side, they get overlooked all the time. Nobody pays attention to them because obviously they got realtors, right?
It's crazy how when I've done this with clients before, we'll be talking about their database and they're like, well, should I put my vendors in there? Like on my regular auto flow with everybody else? I'm like, yeah. Why wouldn't you? It's like, well, they probably already have, a realtor. They probably know some of this stuff. It's like, well, first of all, let's have some confidence in your business structure. Let's have some confidence in what you're putting into your marketing channels and everything, because if it works for this person over here, it's probably going to work for because everybody buys and sells homes the same way. Yes, some people might buy more expensive homes, but everybody buys at least personal residence primarily on emotion, and they do it infrequently, and they all typically, well, at least 90% of them hire a realtor to do that. So why not you? Why not it be you? And this is where you have to kind of look at your playing field as just, hey, I have a really good business structure, and the people I come across, I'm going to treat them all the same in terms of the value that I'm going to deliver. I'm not going to like glob on to this influential person and then be able to go around and say, guess who's my client? Guess who I serve? Because that's going to tick that person off. And at the same time, don't walk around saying, I can't touch them because they are so-and-so. It's like, no, you absolutely can. I remember this, I went to Alex Hormozzi's workshop in December, and somebody had asked a question. I forget what the question was, but tangential to that, they said something about their target market being, top CEOs or whatever. And Alex was talking about content strategy. And he said, yeah, but like those people aren't on social media. Alex looked at him, and this is a guy who's worth a good bit of money and he knows a thing or two about business. He goes, he's like, I think you'd be surprised. Right. He's like, they're just like everyone else. They scroll through the same stuff. He's like, dude, I do it. Like, and I think we tend to think that people all of a sudden are different because they're in a certain financial position or business position, but they're just people.
Well, and what you said was really important was treat everybody the same. Everybody gets the same treatment. Everybody gets your say. So if you're bringing enough value, that value is going to work across all these platforms. And when you have these people that you bring into your world, the minute you start doing something different, where you're like, I'm going to provide more to this person, or I'm going to glom onto them because of what it might give to me, you're breaking this entire model. Like you've got to take a step back and be like, well, okay, wait. Why do I feel like I need to do something different for this person? Where what I should be doing is offering that same level of value across this entire playing field to all of these people that I have in front of me. Now I get it. You'll have your tighter database that you might do some more stuff for. That means you have a group of people that you're just treating at a higher level over here. Not
Those are just
one-offs.
your VIPs. It has nothing to do with their status. I mean, their outward status, right?
Minute it's a one-off, the minute you're like grabbing one person and going, I'm going to show up better for them, you just need to take a step back and say, okay, crossing some lines here. That goes into the chasing mode. And I think that, again, this goes back into providing that platform of great service all the way across, and just don't assume. And that's where we started this off. Like, don't assume these people already have somebody in their world. And even if they do, and this is what goes back to episode 35, even if they do, don't assume that that person that they talk about, that they're like, oh yeah, my friend who's a realtor here in town, don't assume they're going to use them. Like, ever.
And even if they have, I mean, playing the odds, right? Realtors come and go. As unfortunate as that is, just the episode we did several weeks ago, where we were talking about the 71% of agents, or 74, whichever stat you look at, didn't do a deal in 2024. That there is an 80+% dropout rate by 5 years. And so, like, Matthew Ferrara talked about this on our very first success lab inside the 11 circle, which, if you want to go back, that is definitely way still relevant today. Just go to lifeat10downs.com. Get a 7-day trial. You can see Matthew Ferrara's Success Lab. And he talked about, you look at the, what did he call it? It was the, he said something that was interesting. It was like not the death rate, but something like that. And it's like, it's not because,
what was it?
he was talking about like orphaned homeowners, right? It's like, it's not because they're dying or anything like that. It's like, because their realtors are leaving the business. 80+% of agents leave the business before 5 years. So the likelihood of an agent still being in the business is low. And then we give up on that opportunity. And that's just to do business with that person. Influential people and people who are highly connected have plenty of people that they'd love to refer to. And here's the interesting opportunity, because I do think, Garrett, that there is an element of truth to say this person probably knows a lot of people, and there probably are a lot of realtors and other people who are going after that relationship. I think that's fair to say, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
The question is, are they receiving those, and who are they going to refer out? It's going to be the person who provides value and consistent value. And I think a lot of people hold back referring because they don't trust what's going to be given, and their position of influence is important to them, and they want to maintain that. This is why, if you build a great business for yourself with good systems that you feel are providing value and you believe in, then other people will believe in it, and they'll have that trust to refer you, even if they don't do business with you because it's just not their time to buy or sell, or because their sister's an agent and they have to use that person.
The referral can only get passed if they can trust the service that you're providing. If there's a question in there at all, we've used the example, Matt, like if I go to a restaurant and I order something off the menu and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Like, oh, the way it was done, it's incredible. And I go back 2 weeks later and I order the same dish because it was so great and I loved it so much, but this time it comes out with a different sauce. I can't tell anybody about that restaurant and be like, you've got to go check out, the scallops. Oh, they are to die for. Because again, I don't know what you're going to get. I don't know how they're going to be prepared. I can't stand behind that. And I don't want you coming to me going like, yeah, I went and spent $19 on the scallops, Garrett. And okay. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, okay. Thanks for the recommendation. Like, I don't want that. So it's like things that you are providing, your service, your value have to be consistent. You have to show up and provide, this level service across the board. And in the aspect of referrals, Matt, and I think this is really interesting, 2024, I have watched a big movement of agents between all the laws or new rules everybody's playing by, however you want to look at it. There's a good amount of agents that are very, very, very skilled agents. They've been doing this business for a long time. And they're at a place in their business where like, I don't want to learn any new systems right now. I don't want to have to figure out a new marketplace. I don't want to have to this has been a great run. They're very skilled. And there's a lot of people in your area that have had their very skilled agent for a long time. And that agent has now decided, you know what? I'm good. And as much as we would like to think that really skilled agent has this amazing succession plan that they're going to hand off their business and somebody's going to take it over, and they don't.
No.
I mean, there's a very small amount that do, but they don't. So then you have these orphan clients that Matthew Ferrara is talking about that are sitting around going like, well, I had an agent. I've worked with an agent, whether that agent just picked up and left and dropped out of the business, because that's stats. That's kind of how that happens a lot of times. They don't make it very long in real estate. But then we have this other part, which is these very influential realtors that have been in the game for a long time they're retiring. This whole marketplace caused a lot of people to say, I think I'm good, which means, again, we're back to a big orphan client. I think it's actually why the referrals are so high right now, Matt. I've been watching a higher level of referrals than I've seen in a long time. And I think it's because they've lost some of their professionals.
I definitely think so. Expired clients, expired realtors is what Matthew Ferrara used, by the way. I just remembered it.
That's right.
And he's like, I don't mean expired as in like they've left this planet. It's like expired as they left. And I agree. I think that is why we're seeing higher referrals. It's also easier to validate authenticity now. And it's just going to continue to get easier. And because data is easier to consume, the realtor role, being able to demonstrate value, it hasn't gotten more challenging. It's just easier to see the ones that aren't really providing value, because I can go on Name Your Website and get the same information that this realtor is giving me. So what value are they bringing? And this is where context is very important. Context, opinion, experience, connection. And I also think there's an element here that who cares if that person does use you or refers you? Because if you start like, why are we giving so much weight to this person, but the other people in your database, you don't worry about them so much. It's these people of influence and people who have connections that we put all this time and energy of thinking into. It's like, just get them in your database and operate your business like you do anybody else. And maybe they don't use you, or maybe like one of my clients in New York City, who all of a sudden the realtor that his one person was connected with basically kind of blew him off and came over to him, and all of a sudden he's got a $25 million deal in his hands.
So I just had a thought, and it goes along the lines of, I have heard many platforms over the years saying you can't build just a referral-based business, just a relationship business. You've got to be, spread over here. You got to have all these different aspects,
multiple streams of lead generation and all this stuff.
But I wonder if the reason that has failed for them, or they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel about building 100% relationship referral-based business, is because they look at that relationship as an opportunity and not a relationship. And I think that's the damaging piece that happens here, is when you start putting value on people, of bringing them into your world about what their return is to you, you can't build relationships on that. True relationships can't be built on, what do you have to offer me? And I'm going to take time with you if I feel that you've got enough to offer me. The minute that relationship is built that way, it's damaged goods from the very beginning. And then they wonder why the relationship business doesn't work for them. Well, it's because you have built a business around what is the quality of the lead that just came in? How fast can I determine if it's worth worth value to me? Do I need to kick it to the curb, or do I need to spend more time to ask more questions? Ooh, we got a sale. We got one here. When you have a business that has those aspects to it, I think you bring that crap into the actual relationship side, and then you wonder why these struggle, or they don't work quite the way they do. When the people that we watch, Jeff Smith that we just had on, Ted Bash, who we're going to have on coming up here, one of the things we want to talk about when I bring Ted Bash on is how much he values the relationships he does not falter in that in any way, shape, or form. Like, he is all in on these relationships, and you can tell it from 100 miles away that he's all in on these relationships, and you wonder why it works so well, because there's no hook. There's no value put onto that person that's sitting in front of them. It is just a person. It's a relationship. It's somebody you can build trust with. And that's the stuff that builds strong relationship businesses and referral-based businesses. You got to take that element of what is that person worth to me out of the equation.
Yeah, well, because if you focus so much on that, it shifts your mindset, which has the opportunity of damaging other parts of your business, not in terms of how people view you, but how you view those things, which then just unconsciously changes the way you operate. We talked about this on the price episode of working with friends. And like, the minute you start offering discounts, all of a sudden it changes the energy around every element of your business when you do that. And so you have to be cautious of like how you view that person, what's going to happen. And it's funny you brought up like what people promote as strategies. I sent you, I think last night, we haven't had a chance to talk about it, this ad from this other coach who was saying like, hey, did you see the report that 6% of people at this age are looking to sell in this year? Like, what an opportunity. And my first thought was like, well, if the average person moves at a higher rate than that, wouldn't you have better odds just going broad market on this? And I was like, why do we get stuck on these like tiny little strategies that's going to take so much time and effort away from the thing that you're building there that is based on relationships and quality of service, quality of value that you bring. And that's the stuff that we should focus on. How do I do more of that? How do I do that better? And maybe there needs to be some improvements there. Maybe the reason why you're giving so much weight to this person of influence is because you don't believe in some of the value you're bringing, in which case, don't look at that relationship, look at your value and see, hey, what can I change here so I have more confidence in this over here? That's going to have a better long-term run, Garrett.
And we've seen this happen, Matt, from systems that we know very well, where they'll say things like, well, every person in your database is worth X amount in gross commission income. And I've watched agents get locked in on that, where they're like, well, I need to build my database up because if everybody's worth X amount, whatever dollar amount you want to put on that, I need to have this many if I'm going to make this much dollars. And it's like, okay, I get it, but you literally are putting a dollar sign on everybody's forehead. Like, you might as well stamp it on them. Like, when they come into the relationship, do you imagine how crappy this would be, Matt? We meet each other and we're kind of hitting it off. And I'm like, hey, Matt, could you hold on a second? And I like pull out this stamp and I'm just like wetting it up on the ink pad. I'm like, and you're like, what are you doing over there? Like, well, hold on a second. I'm just getting this thing ready. And I just reach across the table and go whap and just hit you right in the forehead with it. And be like, all right. Okay. So that's $1,000. Moving on to the next table. Like, it attaches all this energy that's like, oh my gosh, build the relationships, the successes will come. But the minute you start looking at what is this person worth to me, what is it or equal to that, and to my results that I'm gonna have. I mean, you know where I'm going with this. It's just like, don't contaminate it.
And I love numbers, and we talk about numbers and things, and it's like, but when there's looking at your business from a numbers perspective in terms of how cash flow is working and kind of what is your average transaction price and all this kind of stuff. But the minute you take that down to an individual level on this person in front of me, because the truth is everybody in your database from a business standpoint is worth something different, actually. 100%. Like, everybody has a different value, and there's value of right now value and long-term value and referral value and emotional value and all of these different things. And so we want to kind of, and I think that's why people try to like just flatten it out with a dollar amount. But if that becomes the focus of the business, now it's really hard because you're like, well, it's not worth my time and effort because it's not going to be that much money and that person's harder to go after. Like, you're just changing a mindset that's just putting you in a place that's not going to allow you to actually deliver value to people. And, we want to change that. And I think, and here's the cool thing, like, everybody wants to grow their business. And wouldn't your business grow if you did have a relationship with these influential people, if you did have a good relationship with your lender and more lenders and home inspectors and things? And here's the other thing too, this came up for me in my head, this is unrelated, but it drives me wild when people say, oh, if your lender's not referring you, you need to not refer that lender. And I'm like, that's BS too, because first of all, maybe we haven't brought enough value to that lender. And second, if your lender's really good, why would you not want them working for your buyer? So like the whole mindset around like this value and all this stuff, it can cloud how you run your business. And I would just say red flag, right? Just red flag it and try to avoid it.
So these are all things. We kind of went down these crazy routes on this, Matt.
Yeah, this was kind of fun.
Down all these different areas. We started this whole thing off of like, don't leave people on the table because you think that they might have somebody in their world. And then we deviated down that and we went down this route of like, well, how do you look at everybody in your data? I do see a video, by the way. I probably will make one. Of me actually making a stamp with a $sign on it, being like, don't do this. Don't do this to your database. Don't do this to your people. Like, do not screw up great relationships because you're looking at every single person as a dollar amount that they mean to you. There will be something about it. It's going to happen. I might work on it this weekend. With that being said, I think that there's so much opportunity around us out here, Matt, in helping people and bringing the value and being real. And what we have watched in all the years that we've helped people build relationship businesses is that you need to have a great business plan and you need to focus on your goals and where you want to go. But at the end of the day, great relationships open up so many doors all around us. And a lot of times you need to let go a little bit of what is that person worth to me and open it up to, I have a amazing group of people that happens to produce me enough that allows me to hit these goals and create these things in my life. And if I'm not creating those goals, I can create them by adding more people in. It is a way that makes that happen. But you can't look at them as you are the way I'm going to get to my goal. That's where a true relationship can't grow that way. Yeah. So,
I agree.
Anything else, Matt?
I like the idea of making the big stamp. I think that.
I did. There's going to be. I'm actually quite excited about how this thing might turn out. We'll see what it looks like.
I love it.
Again, don't do that. The big stamp is not go make like. I want to be real clear. It's don't do this. Do not look at it this way. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today. As always, Matt and I love providing this content. We love being able to give this value to you. And if you know anybody out there that might appreciate this, please share this video. You can share it on YouTube. You can share it on the platform that you're listening to. YouTube helps us out the most, though. If you want to learn more about what we do inside of our Life at 1010's community, we have an amazing group. We have group coaching in there. We have special guests that come on. We talked about Matthew Farrar today. He came in, spoke to us in the past. We have Ryan Seacrest, not the actor, but the amazing real estate trainer. He's coming in here next week. We're going to have him speak to our group, share some great insights about the most successful people he saw out of 2024 and the similarities that they all had, that they all brought to the table. And he shared them with me yesterday, Matt. I'm so excited to have him on. We're going to have a ton of fun with this.
Nice.
And and again, if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, both Matt and I one-on-one coach, we'd love to see you there. But thank you. I'll say thank you to everybody. We appreciate you so much. And again, can't wait to have you with us on the next episode.
Thanks, everybody.